Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. My name is Dolinsky. I'm a Brooklyn-based artist, and I did the ChaNorth artist residency about a year ago now. I want to give a huge thanks to Brigitte and Peter and everyone at ChaNorth for asking me to do this home studio tour. While I was there at ChaNorth, I kind of focused less on doing drawings and premeditative work and kind of worked more free and intuitive. At the time, I would do a lot of sketches and maquettes and kind of work out compositions and ideas before I even touched the materials. So while I was there, I kind of just focused on just kind of working more free and just kind of having that time to just work. So yeah, my studio is here in Brooklyn, New York, and for the sake of quarantining, I have moved some materials and tools into my apartment, and I've been working in this kind of more condensed area now. But yeah, I'll give you a tour. Okay, so here is the more condensed version of my studio. Here's a workbench. I've installed some shelves to hold some works in progress and some finished pieces. Um, we got some kind of filing system here to keep some pieces that I'm working on. So I'll explain to you my process. So I have two different approaches to my work. The first approach is these more solid pieces right here, as you can see. Um, so with these, I'm working in clay originally, and I carve these negative abstract shapes into the clay. And then I pour plaster that's mixed with dyes and pigments into the clay. And then when the plaster hardens, I pull the clay away and you're left with these pieces. Um, and then I have this other approach where these are pieces where the plaster is still dyed, but they're sort of chunks that have been left over from the casting process. Chips and sort of plaster as it's drying, as it's starting to cure or kick over. I squish these like chips in different pieces together and create these um, kind of assembled pieces, and then I put them together into larger works. So I'll show you here. I keep, a bunch of these little chips of like little pieces of plaster that were left over. And then while I'm working and I'll have maybe a little leftover plaster when I'm casting, I'll just very quickly make something, very quickly just experiment with something, not to waste it. And I've been doing this kind of process for years, just to experiment and have fun with plaster and not to waste. And then maybe 2 years ago, I decided that I kind of liked where these were going, and I started taking them more seriously and started to dive into this aspect of my work more. As you can see, these are the kind of more elemental pieces, these like small chunks of dyed plaster, and I'll use these, and then as I showed you before, I kind of just very quickly, very spontaneously put these pieces together as I'm working. Yeah, and then I assemble them into larger pieces. I'm very interested in the different states of plaster. You can buy plaster in this powder form, and then you mix it with water, and it becomes more fluid and it has this, great movement to it. And then as plaster starts to cure, it becomes thicker and harder and more rigid until it's like a stone. So I kind of see these as like almost different states of mind or different states of consciousness. And I feel at these times, especially in isolation, or at least like more difficult times, I've been thinking a lot of how it is to sit in your own body. How does it feel to exist in your own body? Yeah, so as you can see, the plaster takes on these different aspects. And I've been adding a little painting to them still. I kind of see them as these sculptures and paintings together. Since the dyes are mixed in with the clay, I kind of see it as this painting existing within the same space as the sculpture. Similar to kind of our physical aspect and psyche together, and these connections that they have. I'm very interested in like kind of a stimuli response idea, and how the stimuli affects our bodies and affects our minds, and how we react to that. And you can see here that these are kind of these carved brush strokes here that kind of gives it this like painting, this three-dimensionality to it. My dies, tapes. Well, that's pretty much it. Thanks again for tuning in. Everyone stay safe out there. Have a good one. Bye.